Hey everybody, welcome back to 1 Minute Walking Tours. I am your host, Jonathan. Today we are at 319 Broadway, which is this building behind me here. We're actually on Thomas Street, which is the corner, for what would have been the John Anderson Tobacco Shop, at least in 1838. Now this building behind me was built in the 1880s, and much of New York City between 1820 and 1870 or so is long gone. But the reason we're here is because the John Anderson Tobacco Shop was where the mysterious Beautiful Cigar Girl, the wind, Mary Cecilia Rogers worked in 1838 to 1841. Now, some of you might know that name because Mary Rogers was one of New York City's, if not the first, and the United States' first murder mysteries. Now, Mary Rogers here was born in Connecticut, they think, and she came to work in New York City at the behest of John Anderson, who wanted to bring a new sensation to New York City, and that was a young girl working in a tobacco shop, as was popular in Europe, or at least that's what they said. So anything that brought sensation and the ideas of women working in places where men hung out, and people did hang out here, that included most of New York City's Democratic Tammany Hall machine. They came here. Zachary Taylor, war hero and then president, also came here. Edgar Allan Poe, Washington Irving, said Edgar Allan Poe, James Fenimore Cooper, they all came. They all knew Mary Rogers. And she disappeared once, and then she came back, and many thought that was a stunt. So when she did disappear and did not come back, many thought that that was a stunt. Now, we are actually only headed off in this direction 3 blocks from New York City's very famous and severe, 5 points slum. So when she does disappear, many say maybe she walked off towards home, which would have been over where that blue container is, towards that direction. But she did not come back. And it would be a few days until her body shows up in the Hudson River, that way, between New York and Hoboken. Now the Hoboken Ferry on Barclay Street, which is that way, could take you over there in about 20 minutes. Hoboken at the time was considered quite the getaway from a hot and steamy New York City, and people did that all the time, including Mary Rogers. Now, for those of you who have been watching 1 Minute Walking Tours for a long time, you know I did a tour of John Anderson's rather expensive and luxurious tomb in Greenwood Cemetery, and John Anderson would become one of the, if not the suspect, in her murder and disappearance. However, Mary Rogers' body doesn't show any kind of sign that she had obtained an illegal abortion and died. Now, that was the main theory at the time, although her body shows that she had been very brutally beaten. Most of the bones in her face were broken, and her bonnet tied around her head rather quickly and roughly. Her body also had been floating in the Hudson River, which means she was further uptown in Manhattan and had floated down the Hudson River. Not that she had gone across to New Jersey, died there, and then been thrown into the river parallel to the shore. But really what's at stake here for Victorian New York and Victorian America, before the American Civil War, of course, is where is the woman's place? Certainly not selling cigars. But also behind me in this building is the origin, in many ways, of the short story for Edgar Allan Poe, who knew Mary Rogers personally, and he writes a short story for his detective Auguste Dupin. In the short story, The Mystery of Mary Rogers, I'm not good with languages. He has his detective solve, as Poe saw it, the mystery of Mary Rogers, although that is set in Paris. So it all started right on this street corner. Many, many exciting things. So, if you'd like to learn more about the mystery of Mary Rogers, there are many, well, not many, there's actually only a couple of books. My favorite, by Rick Geary, is part of his Treasury of Victorian Horror, because everything's better when you add artwork. I mean, that's just a fact. And you can get this wherever you buy fine books, and he has great little maps of New York. And I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you here soon on 1 Minute Walking Tours.